Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Bill. How are you, sir?
I'm pretty good. What's
Nice.
up?
I am okay. I think I woke up a little bit in a bit of a funk. Not really sure. Well, there's lots of reasons why, lots of little contributing things. Um, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting out of my funk and having a good day. How about you?
I'm looking forward to helping you get out of that funk. And so we both have.
Hey, there he is. There's
Hey,
Bill.
there's Bill. Well, what'd you do yesterday? Anything interesting?
Um, I got a newer salesperson into a CRM and saw the lights come on,
Okay.
right? Because this person is in like kind of like four roles, honestly, at the same time. Good morning, Mike. Four roles at the same time and has a lot going on and is brand new to this thing. And so we are, working through it and talking a lot about mindset and how to think about it and how to break down the work. And, she's now at a point where she's generated some stuff and it's like, okay, great, let's put this in the CRM. And she's like, why? And I was like, because someone's going to ask you about this and you're going to want to be prepared. And she was like, what?
Mhm.
And so built out a version of a pipeline inside of a CRM tool that we use that will allow her to track her referrals and leads and opportunities, and just going to set her up to be successful because people, especially in her field, are going to, okay, so what's up with this thing? And so she's going to need to be able to talk with authority around those things. So building a system so that way she can access all that information at a moment's notice is going to help
Mhm.
her run more volume, a deeper pipeline, and be more prepared. So that
Yeah.
was really cool. I closed a deal yesterday for a new private client. Super
Oh, yeah.
cool guy who has got a unique set of situations going on, and so he wants to, build something that he owns and is a salesperson working for an entrepreneur and doing all these other things. So we've decided to work together for at least 3 months and see kind of what happens from there. So that was exciting. I got to be on Dylan's podcast yesterday, so he was smoking a pipe the whole time that he was interviewing me, which was awesome and hilarious. And yeah, who else did I talk with yesterday? I met with our SEO coach. So I
Oh,
met with
okay.
him. He's doing some offer creation and selling, and so we're talking about his pipeline and prospects, and yeah. So that was yesterday. Long It ended up being a long day with the gaming on the end of it because I ended up gaming with Obed and a buddy of his named Todd. We were playing some Halo, and also did a little bit of gaming with Mike and Q and all that other stuff. So
Oh,
good
okay.
day yesterday.
So you got a good round in.
Hmm.
Yeah. Good couple rounds in.
Yeah.
Cool. I was on that first part about the CRM. I actually heard a horror story of a client yesterday where the sales team, which is standard for a lot of salespeople, right, hate entering data into CRMs.
Yep.
And this one guy was just, and the team was all bought into the CRM methodology and that's how they were tracking revenue and they needed the information. And he just refused to put it in. He just refused to do it. So the dude closes a $15,000 commission for himself.
Hmm.
And comes time for a paycheck, and the paycheck didn't show up. And he's
It's not in the
like, "Where?"
CRM.
He goes, "It's not in HubSpot. It doesn't exist. I'm sorry. If you want to go put that
Yeah.
in HubSpot, I'll be happy to cut your check for you." Never missed it again. Never
Yeah.
missed it again.
Yeah. It's a super interesting thing that I deal with these things because it's like I am so excited about it. And I remember the very first team that I worked with as like a CRM consultant, and I come in and I'm like, guys, I'm so excited, and everyone else is like giving me that look, like no one wanted me there, right? And then like I just see it for the greatness. They're thinking of me just like any kind of other consultant. I'm there to like trim the fat and let people go and make these big broad changes that no one wants to do. And I had to kind of figure out a way to bypass that, right? Because like sometimes the person who's bringing me in is like, hey, John's here to fix us, and of course no one wants to be fixed. So it's kind
Right.
of like, hey, I
Right.
need you to introduce me in a slightly different format, kind of
Yes.
thing. And so then I have to coach the leaders on how to introduce me the right way. I spend time with each people individually and talk about like, hey, look, we're building this. And this is something that people miss. The CRM can be built to benefit the salespeople, or it can be built to benefit the micromanagers and middle managers and people who don't really sell, but only keep their job if they're, ushering revenue in some meaningful way and stuff. And so if your CRM isn't actually built to support the salespeople, of course they're not going to want to use it because it's about helping them be more effective and efficient on the role. So position it that way. Hey guys, we get to spend less time in stupid pipeline meetings because I can just see your pipeline through a tool. Wouldn't you prefer that? Oh, I would much rather prefer that. Cool. Can
Right.
you use it?
Right. Yeah. And guess
So,
what? You don't have to remember who to call today. It's right there in your
yes,
follow-ups.
exactly.
And
Well,
guess what?
you know,
And guess what? And guess what? And guess what? Just
it's hard for me to have patience for the brick wall of cognitive dissonance around, well, you guys just want to track me. Yeah, we want to track you. Like, do you really want to continue the rest of your career only being judged by the outcomes you don't have any control over? Or do you want to show your pipeline like movement and growth and mobility? And then you can show about the drop-offs, and then you can help, the leadership team improve and do all these other things. Or you can just get fired when you don't hit the forecast. Like, which one do you prefer to live under? Doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, and good employees, not just salespeople, want to improve, and a CRM helps you see where things are breaking down, like in black and white. You can go, oh, there's something broken there. Let's fix that.
Yeah.
And you have to ask. It's like right there. You can see it.
Yeah.
And say, okay, I got to figure something out there.
Don't bother doing SEO without a CRM. That's an interesting thing.
Yeah, because they don't want the traffic coming in if they can't track it and lead flow it. And
I mean, honestly, I think that the CRM is a bigger component if you're doing PPC, because like the time to action, the volume, all that stuff is going to be so much faster than SEO. Like SEO, I think you can have really great traffic and have like, that's almost like a marketing CRM, I would say at that point. I think if you're doing PPC, you need a place to like put those leads and, be able to automate the beginning of the process. So
yeah. And the way we build it is
good morning,
both.
Michelle, by the way.
Yeah. Hey, Michelle. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
We do both at our company. It's all one thing. It's built around the salesperson to start, because sales is where the money happens. And then we work in reverse to marketing to say, hey, what content's driving, qualified leads, and then da. So it all ends up becoming just one path, right?
Yeah.
Begin to end. But that takes a while to get to. So to your point, SEO would take a longer to track that too. But I love that they're already thinking that way. It's a great mindset to have.
It's a great mindset.
Coming in, we want to know where and why and how and all that good stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Revenue
Revenue attribution. That's a fairly complex topic, depending upon how big your organization is and how you want to track it and all the stuff around like dark social, and it's crazy now. It's very, very, very hard.
Yep. The easiest way is still just via website, just what's happening on your website as far as the attribution to where that traffic came from. So many ways to do it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep.
Man. Okay. I got to talk about one thing.
Okay.
Because this was in my head yesterday. Have you seen the new thing on LinkedIn? Mike Tao and I were talking about this yesterday. So there was a post and it's gone viral, and it's about the crying CEO. Have you seen this thing?
No, I saw you guys chatting about it, but I couldn't find it. Didn't show up on my feed.
Yeah.
So you have to throw me up a link in the Slack channel so I can find it.
Yeah. Hello, Dylan. Good morning. So a guy had to let some people go, and he made a post about it on LinkedIn. And as he posted a selfie of himself, and he's having emotional moments. He was crying in the photo, and he wrote the article, in my opinion, badly. It needed an editing pass, really, is what it comes down to. And had to let some people go because he made a decision as the leader that impacted revenue, and so then he had to let some people go, and he was upset about it. And this guy gets ripped to shreds in the comments, right? And now it's been on Vice, and now you have the LinkedIn jackals coming along, like repurposing it, right? So they were so over the top, crazy that this guy shouldn't be posting about this, but not enough that they're not going to jump on the engagement, coattails themselves and ride that thing along with it. So it's like, my thinking is, let's put all their content under the microscope and like see if it all passes muster and scrutiny and everything else like that, because that is a whole lot of eyeballs and different opinions on one little bitty piece of content. So it was frustrating, because if if Melissa or myself or someone who writes more than Braden does had taken a look at that article and repositioned it just slightly, like same message, same 80% of the words, changing 20% of the words, and it would be LinkedIn gold. Like everyone would be fawning over it and stuff like that. But because it was written from an emotional place at an emotional time, this guy is getting just beaten up everywhere. And it's crazy. Yeah, 30K reactions. And to be fair, I do know Braden. We do work together, right? We've partnered on some projects before. And so it was just kind of like, man, that sucks. So really, really feel for that guy. Because if you never let anybody go who shouldn't have been let go, you had to let them go because of something you did as a leader, that sucks. Like, and it's supposed to make you emotional. And if it doesn't, you're not a thoughtful leader, in my opinion.
You're not a good leader, that's for sure. If you don't have a problem letting people off when you screw up. Yeah, 30. I found it. 32,000 reactions, 6,600 comments, 558 shares. That's crazy, man.
Yep.
I'll have to go through some of that. That's interesting.
The cool thing, in my opinion, is that as much as he's getting ripped up about it on LinkedIn, and he's now in the halls of fame over in the LinkedIn fanatics over on Reddit and everything else like that. Like Vice did an article on him. BuzzFeed, I think, reached out to him and stuff like that to talk about it. So so I mean, you got to take the good with the bad, I would say. But it was just an interesting moment because all these people are like, man, I can't believe this guy. Can you believe this hashtag crying CEO? Just that way you can ride on the coattails of it as well. Like, I get that people are going to have opinions, but using it for your own reach, I think, is a little cringy.
Yeah.
Good morning, Gabe.
I would have to agree. There's a level of balance going on that's continuing to kind of balance out, because I've actually seen more posts like this come up where they'll actually share some really vulnerable stuff going on at work and think they're doing a good thing and get hardly any reach, but they still get punked and trolled. And then this one just happened to go viral,
Yeah. I mean, you do not want to read content that doesn't have any vulnerability in it. Believe me, it's absolutely brutal. Like, Melissa and I both got paid to read a book last year, right? Because it was a pre-read situation. They were looking for feedback, and we both read the book, and we both came to the conclusion that, okay book, because there's no vulnerability in it at all. Like, it's a business book, and it's largely kind of autobiographical, and the guy never makes a mistake, right? And the two mistakes he does talk about are so small in the grand scheme of things. Like, I'm reading the book and I'm like, ooh, this guy's terrible to work for. I promise. Yeah. Like, he's just one of these people, right? And Melissa and I had agreed to not, thank you, Gabe. Melissa and I had agreed to not talk about the book until we both finished it. So we didn't color each other's, opinions about it. And so this was so funny. Like, I talk about journaling all the time. And then Melissa starts reading this book, and then all of a sudden she's journaling, right? And I'm like, I'm not enjoying this book at all. And I was like, what is going on over here? What is, like, now she's journaling? Like, I haven't even seen anything about journaling in this book. And so I'm thinking, like, what is she getting out of this book that I am not? So we finished the book. She comes up. I read much faster than she does. And so she comes up and she goes, hey, are you done with the book? I said, yeah, I am. She's like, good. Can we talk about it? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, did you like it? And I said, no. And she goes, oh, good God, I hated it as well. I thought it was just me. And I was like, no. And then we get to have this really interesting discussion around the fact that, like, it's not approachable because there's no vulnerability, right? And people don't read and enjoy content that has no vulnerability in it. Now, is there a line? Obviously, right? But yeah, it's he's making the best of it, which I'm.
Yeah, I read like 4 comments very briefly, and it looks like he seems to be pretty mature about the whole situation, which makes me feel like maybe he probably did it for the right reasons. It just landed wrong.
Landed badly, right?
I haven't read the post yet, so I'll definitely go back into that too. But
yeah.
Well, and so did she tell you why she started journaling then?
No, it was just about, like, it was really about making notes about the things that she didn't like about the book.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, okay.
A new leaf had been turned over, and you were like,
Yeah, I was so confused. I was like, what about this book is making this thing happen? Yeah, Um, yeah. So you have to be vulnerable. And all these people who were, and this is really the thing that I want to say, all the people who want to create content, want to hit publish and want to hit post, but have felt concern, imposter syndrome, fear about doing it and putting themselves out there are going to be a little bit deeper in the wings now because of
yeah,
all these jackals who
yeah.
just want to, hop on the coattails about it. Like, I don't know, man, just bothers me, honestly.
That's actually, yeah, I agree. I completely agree. Especially as the more you write, the more you realize how it's like therapeutic it is, even if you're not fantastic at it, and how much
Yeah.
it can really help people by revealing some of the stuff that you're thinking about.
Yep.
That's really why I started a newsletter instead of posting all the things I want to post, like
Yeah.
out on the feed, because at least there's at least a kind of a fake wall there where like, oh, that's his newsletter. I'm not going to read that. So the
Yeah.
people that are there actually really want to hear what I have to say. And then if they troll me, then they troll me. But it's less of that noise.
I mean, but by that same token, right? And I hate how subjective this is because, like, it's not the clean black or white thing that'll that I prefer. Is that it's got to be done well. It has to be approached the right way. Like there's a difference between being vulnerable and being a doormat. And if you don't know, like, yeah, man, writing craft, right?
Yeah, for sure. And you can say that about a lot of things, but particularly for writing, because there's no tone with it. There's very little context and
Yes.
it's just such a art, really is.
Man, so then on Twitter, this one person was like, here's a thread about, what happens after I have a conversation with someone. And she essentially sends them like a rate sheet, right? And so like it's a little bitty rate sheet, how much this is, and here's what the process looks like. And I said, okay, cool. Like, so glad that you did this. What's your close rate off of sending this to people? And the response was high. Okay, I would love to know what high actually looks like. Do you like, because I replied, I said, that's a bit of a murky data point. Most people aren't going to be set up for success for just sending off a rate card to people. And she goes, well, this isn't a rate card. And I was like, well, you might not intend it as a rate card, but you don't get to control how that person reads it.
Perception. Yep.
Perception.
There's a book about that, people.
Exactly. Yeah. There's lots of books about it.
Right.
And then this other person was like, well, I talk price before trying to close the deal. And I was like, good. You're supposed to. You're not just supposed to send it over as an email and let them deal with it on their own terms, unless you just want to be in the commodity race, right? Because I promise neither one of those writers are charging a premium for the content that they're writing, doing it the way that they're doing it. So that's the hard part.
Exactly.
And I hate being like sales guy on social media, but like, man, I see that stuff and I'm like, you were setting people up for failure, because I've been the guy you walk into the office and like, hey, just leave us some information, because they're just being nice and they want you out the door. And there's an email version of that. Well, just send me over some information via email and we'll take a look at it. You get very excited. You just ship it out the door and then you're hoping and waiting. And then you have people on social media who were like, hey, this works. Does it? No,
Not mostly. No.
Yeah.
I mean, there is such a thing as a lottery. I mean, you can and somebody wins, but
I was with my SEO coach yesterday. His name's AJ, and he was talking about a deal that he was working on, and I was like, "Cool, man, awesome." And he was like, "Yeah," and I said, "Congratulations, you won the hand, but do you think you played the hand well?" And he just started laughing. He was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Well, this is the thing, man. Like you did well. You got the deal. Awesome. There's always an opportunity to go back and improve your situation." Like, the other day when I was talking about the guy who wanted like to pay me a third of what the normal rate is and everything else like that, I'm still frustrated about that conversation because I have a technique for that exact specific moment, and I just wasn't on my game enough to be able to kind of like sink it in there very, very effectively. Yeah. And so I'm not concerned about the fact that like I got a no from the guy and haven't heard from him since then. It doesn't bother me at all. The fact that I have a technique and I know that it works in that kind of spot, but like the way that he did it kind of rocked me back on my heels just enough that I wasn't able to do it, is the thing that I leave that thing with as my improvement point for next time. So
absolutely.
Always there.
Yes.
Promise.
That's what I was gonna say. Is so I had another role play. It was an even tougher one this time, and
Good.
he pushed me right on my heels right away, and so it was my job to come right back. And I had a few passes as like last time, and his point was is 90% of the time, Jake, you're going to know what to say, but because you're smart and you're quick, and you can get in there and you can figure it out quick enough. He said, but there's a 10% there, and they're there that are just going to rock you, or maybe less than that, 5%, but then they're going to rock you, and that's the ones you got to prepare for, because the rest of them you can kind of maneuver and be like, yeah, but you said that. What do you mean? What about this? Not that you're trapping, but it's like, yeah, this doesn't make a lot of sense, and you kind of let them hang themselves. It's the people that come hard at you that, and I don't know how hard this guy came at you, but like you said, if you're not on your toes, ready, like listening, and they drop something and you're not ready, those moments can pass you by, and you're like,
the thing in sparring and in boxing and in fighting is like, it's not the punch that's the hardest. It's the one you weren't expecting to make contact that stuns you. Right. So, you're in there and you're all prepared. You got your frames. You're all set up for success. You're ready to reverse. You're ready to ask really great questions. You're ready to lead with confidence and lead with conflict and make sure it's a good fit and everything. And then you just get hit broadsided. Right. Yeah. And once again, some people just like to try to push the buttons. They just like to try to manipulate and see what happens. Clint is one of these people, like the D personality on the podcast. He loves to mess with people. And if you step in it once, you're dead to him.
Yep.
Like, He makes no apologies about it. So these people will mess with you to try to trip you up. Just that way they can say, not worth my time.
See, I'm smarter than you. Yep. I don't need you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. So, So in those moments, like, you don't have to be perfect with the answer. You need to have not even perfection, but you need to have some practice around like disarming that thing is really more what it's about. It's not about bowing up and trying to mow them over. It's about responding differently, so that way you avoid the trap.
Yeah, and the way I was thinking about it was, it's as long as you don't let them blow up your stance, you don't let them see you just crash you. Like, I know, like
it's almost like you're a kung fu guy. Hold on a second. You just said you're not. They're not allowed to blow up your stance, which is like, I'm like so much a kung fu thing, right? If your structure is not in place and people can get around it, under it, or something, you can't generate any power. Yeah, you got to be strong in your stance for sure.
Well, I'll tell you why. I've been hanging out with this guy for 10 plus years who loves kung fu.
Yeah,
and he uses it. And osmosis is a real thing. Some of it just it sticks to you like barnacles on the tip, right? And so
that guy's probably a poser, though. He's probably a poser. He probably doesn't really do anything.
To me, yeah, definitely.
No, the guy you're learning all this from. Yeah. No, the guy you're hearing all this from is probably fake. Yeah,
I was reversing that on you. So so that was a nice. Also another Mike Tyson. Not another, but a Mike Tyson boxing, right? Don't know really until you get punched in the face. Everyone has a plan, and so
but he's huge.
He's not small, that's for sure. He's at least a small mountain as far as I can tell.
Yes.
So but yeah, so it was kind of one of those things where when you come with frames and you come with structures and you go, okay, here's the plan. If he says this, I'm going to say this. If he says this, I'm going to say this. And there's just, especially people who are good at this, they know the cracks, right? They know where to come in and go,
yeah,
I guarantee he hasn't prepared for this situation. Or he's prepared for question one. He ain't ready for my follow-up, though. So I'm going to let him think he has question one, so.
Yes.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Yes, Gabe, I would love to hear Michael Ryan. I did not hear about the traveling pasta salesman.
No.
I can't wait. I can't wait for this punchline.
Yes. That's right.
Is he just throwing everything against the wall to see what works?
Yes. That's
there we go. It. Good night, everybody. I'm out. Try the veal. Try the veal, everybody. Try the veal. Be sure to tip your server. Yeah. Gabe would love to come on there. Yes. Wow. Yes.
There it is.
There it is. That is deep from Dadsville. Is where that is. I love that.
I love it. I know that needs to go in the Slack channel.
It does need to go in the Slack channel. Dylan, make that thing happen, my friend. Dylan is our
put it down and go get on the keyboard.
Man, yeah. What do you got today?
Well, I'm ready to talk about tomorrow, but today I have got a one-on-one. I've got some recruiting training.
Ooh.
I guess we do some content for recruiting. We help out when we're recruiting. I've got my coaching cohort. I've got, let's see, going to see a concert tonight.
Ooh.
And it's a 5-piece, like a little symphony, like violin,
nice.
bass, and they're playing Adele songs. So it's all Adele covers. And so I'm taking my girlfriend out to see that.
Dang, nicely done, dude.
And then Adele's like one of her favorite artists. So yeah, several things. What about you?
Man, I want to talk about the Adele cover group. That sounds interesting. I have Sales Lab at 10. Hopefully Jod comes and hangs out at Sales Lab because he's not been there for the past couple of sessions, and he's in the UK, so time zone is a little bit odd, but I hope he's there today because I miss him. After that, I've got I get to do a disc breakdown with a new salesperson that I'm supporting today. So this is a new team and we're working together. And so the team has done their disc assessments. And so I get to go over the first guy's results and talk about it and stuff like that, which is my favorite conversation to do because, man, yeah, wouldn't be this person without that assessment in the conversation that comes attached to it. So I get to do that, which is always good. I'm going to be talking with Michael Ryan later on today. We're going to be talking more about dad jokes, probably.
Okay. Nice. And joining the group, possibly.
Hey, Mike, I think knows about the Slack group. He's just we've never talked about it. Mike's more than welcome to come hang out if you would like.
Michael, come on in, man. Then I can talk to you too.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I somehow have 3 lunch club calls today. Like, I figured that lunch club would be smart enough because it's like AI to not schedule over itself. So I scheduled a remake because someone was busy for one of my times, and then it stacked it right on top. So I have 3 lunch club calls. 2 of them are happening at the same time, so I get to figure out how we're going to deal with that. But yeah, and that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, then I've got an 8:00 call. So let's just real quick. T-Lock, right? Travis Lochner.
Travis Lochner tomorrow.
Dude, you definitely need to go check about his content before tomorrow and see what you're in for, because this dude.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about coming in hot, Gabe. This guy, man, he brings it. He brings it, man.
It's gonna be it's gonna be awesome. I'm excited to talk to him about it. We're gonna talk community and lighting and events and everything. It's gonna be rad. Michael Ryan, that's my fault, homie. I'll get you a link and you can please come hang out. It'd be rad.
Come join the Slack group, man. It's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. All right, sweet, man. Well, yeah, definitely we will be here bright and early, 7:30, ready to roll. Ready to talk to T-Lock. And so if you have any questions for the man, bring them because we're going to have some fun.
Yes, absolutely. Gabe, would love to come back on your show. Let us know.
Join us, Gabe. So thanks, everyone, for joining us today. Good to see everybody. And I got to run, so see you, Bill.
Mike,
have a good day.
Michelle, yes, Gabe, everybody, Dylan, you guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good day, Bill.